Do you find it harder to cope with your period during the summer? If so, stay tuned. Yes, coping with your period can be difficult for many of us, really. And then introducing that sweltering heat, maybe some sugary cocktails or stressful travel plans if you're lucky, it can all make matters even worse. So here are my top tips on coping with your period during the summer. One period symptom that can pop up in the summer heat is fainting. In hot weather, it's more difficult for your body to maintain blood pressure, and the same goes for when you have your period. When you're actively losing blood through your period, this lowers the volume of blood in your body and thus can lower your blood pressure. Clinically, this seems to be more noticeable with very heavy periods or, in perimenopause with that very heavy flooding that some women can get. And there is only a very small amount of research on this topic, but there was a seminal study that found that blood pressure was actually higher at the start of the period before dropping. During your period, you may find that spending time in the summer heat can make you more prone to dizziness or even fainting, as your body might be struggling to deliver an adequate supply of oxygen and glucose to your brain. And this is because our blood vessels dilate in the heat, so we have a double whammy of blood loss and expanded blood vessels, both of which lower our blood pressure. And this can be hard to cope with if you're trying to enjoy the summer heat on a holiday or even deal with the heat at work. It's important to take things slowly if you're prone to fainting. If you've been sitting or lying down for a long period of time, like even say waking up in bed in the morning, then make sure to get up slowly and gradually to avoid the drastic change in blood pressure that you get upon standing up, which can cause that fainting or even lightheadedness. Plus, if you're prone to lightheadedness and fainting, it's important to see your doctor to make sure you're in good health otherwise and that there's something serious at play. So it could be a warning sign of something else. It could be that you're deficient in iron, or you might have otherwise have low blood pressure. And both of these things can be managed that can help you avoid fainting spells that could be ruining your summer. Next up, let's talk about exercise during your period. During the summertime, it can be easier to get yourself moving outdoors as the weather's often much nicer. But when your period rolls around, you might feel more sluggish. You might prefer to curl up on the couch with a good book or the latest Netflix hit. If your period cramps and fatigue are something that you're struggling with, which is okay. Menstruation is a time when we need more rest. However, gentle exercise, things like swimming, can be really good for particularly nasty period symptoms like cramps. It also helps reduce stress, which can have a huge impact on your hormones. And when you exercise and you get your body moving, you can help to loosen those tight muscles and get blood pumping around the body. And this can be especially useful during your period when a lot of blood is diverted to your reproductive organs and causes a reduction of blood elsewhere in the body. Exercise is also good for releasing those feel-good endorphins, which can, influence your perception of pain, and also just make you feel better and help you cope with symptoms like cramps, or even maybe, stressful traveling mishaps if you're traveling while on your period. You've got the double whammy. And, you may think that I'm crazy to suggest swimming as a great exercise during your period, but, there are lots of products available that you can, still enjoy a nice swim while menstruating. There's tampons, of course. Make sure you go for organic ones to avoid the harmful endocrine disrupting chemicals that are in many of them. But you can also use a menstrual cup or disc, or many brands of period pants actually have absorbent swimwear too. They look like any other pair of bikini bottoms, but they're designed to absorb our menstrual blood and avoid leaks. Just amazing. If you, like me though, love swimming in the cold sea here in Ireland or anywhere else where the sea is very cold all year round, it's worth noting that cold water can in some cases contribute to worse period pain. And in traditional Chinese medicine, in TCM, they recommend that we avoid getting too cold and we opt for warm food rather than cold food during our periods. Because you see, the cold temperature can contribute to what they call stagnation, which can make period pain worse, according to TCM. And then when it comes to our period, we want to let that blood flow out easily. So if you are prone to cramps, it's a good idea to get moving, just perhaps avoid swimming in that very cold water that can contribute to the stagnation. You can also check out my colleague Emma's blog, Simple Exercises to Do on Your Period, for some more inspiration, and I've linked that in the YouTube description below. Lastly, make sure you stay hydrated. Staying hydrated is hugely important, both during your period and during the summertime. If you're spending a lot of time, either sitting out in the heat or getting your body moving through exercise, you will be more likely to lose a lot of fluids through your sweat. And if you're not drinking enough water to counteract this loss of fluids, then you could end up suffering. First off, Going back to my earlier point about fainting, drinking water can increase the blood flow around your body and ensure that your brain and other tissues are getting an adequate supply of the good stuff. Without plenty of water, you might feel tired. You could be more at risk from suffering from that lightheadedness or fainting. And then what's more, if you suffer from fluid retention or bloating during your period, this could actually be a sign that you're not drinking enough water. And again, could be made worse by the loss of fluids in hot weather. And it might sound counterintuitive, but drinking more water will help relieve symptoms like fluid retention and bloating by flushing out that excess water that the body is holding on to. It'll also help to flush out waste and toxins that could be responsible for other period symptoms like cramps or sluggish bowel or acne flare-ups. Drinking sugary cocktails or any alcohol will also make you more dehydrated. So make sure you're drinking more than usual if you're on holidays and drinking more than you normally would. So stay hydrated, make sure to keep your body moving and just enjoy these summer days, whether you have your period or not.